Welcome to the Technology Addicts podcast. In this episode, we're diving into an article from the latest issue of Focus magazine, exploring the exciting world of sustainable transportation. On the way to zero emission. A sustainable transport sector is a key building block in our efforts to create a greener future. Innovative components are ensuring that the drive systems required to achieve this are becoming increasingly efficient and affordable. Transportation, in other words, the task of moving people and goods from one place to another, is not just fundamental to ensuring our society works, it is also a key economic factor. In most countries, the transport sector directly contributes 5 to 10% of gross domestic product and is a prerequisite for successful social development and economic growth. However, current public debate has tended to focus on its negative side effects. For example, on the fact that the transportation of people and freight is predominantly reliant on fossil fuels. According to the International Energy Agency, IEA, this sector alone accounted for 37% of CO2 emissions from all end-use sectors in 2021. In response, politicians and industry have been promoting the use of alternative drive systems. As a result, global sales of electric cars rose from around 1 million to more than 10 million in just 5 years between 2017 and 2022. Electric vehicles are one of the driving forces in the new global energy economy that is rapidly emerging, said IEA Executive Director Fatih Birol. The internal combustion engine has gone unrivaled for over a century, but electric vehicles are changing the status quo. By 2030, they will avoid the need for at least 5 million barrels a day of oil. Cars are just the first wave. Electric buses and trucks will follow soon. Although the spotlight is on electrification, alternative drive systems such as hydrogen technology and e-fuels are also set to play a key role in improving sustainability, particularly in heavy-duty transport applications and the shipping industry. One thing they all have in common is that they impact a whole host of different components in the vehicle. One example is innovative batteries, which are themselves becoming much more sustainable thanks to their high energy density and the fact that the raw materials required to produce them are readily available. They can also be charged rapidly with increasingly higher currents. However, this does necessitate the use of cables and connectors that can withstand the high amperages involved and can safely transfer the power required for demanding applications, such as construction and agricultural machinery. New semiconductor materials such as silicon carbide and gallium nitride are opening the door to more powerful converters, which are also much more efficient thanks to new DC link capacitors. In addition, more and more sensors are now required to monitor the electrical systems. These sensors are becoming increasingly smaller and easier to integrate, which again helps to make the transport sector more sustainable. Another important factor is that electrification is going hand in hand with the wider digital transformation of our society. By networking vehicles with one another and their surroundings, traffic jams can be prevented and emissions can be reduced. New antennas which combine several wireless technologies for these vehicle-to-X solutions in a single component are also being developed. All of these aspects need to dovetail with one another if we are to create drive systems that don't just cut emissions, but also operate highly efficiently and require fewer raw materials. And that applies across the board, not just to cars, but also trains and planes. Frans Timmermans, Executive Vice President for the European Green Deal, said, "To reach our climate and zero pollution goals, all parts of the transport sector have to actively contribute. By 2050, nearly all of the vehicles on our roads have to be zero emission. Our climate legislation requires it, our cities demand it, and our manufacturers are gearing up for it." Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Technology Addicts podcast. For more exciting episodes, be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platform and make sure to check out the show notes.